a day already. It is very exhausting time, y'all. I'm gonna get the word fired out and then get this party started. Welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I'm your host, Kalari GXC. I was gonna start this fired up, but then we got some tragic news about 20 minutes ago, and it, not gonna lie, it fazed me. Just like losing the show Nichols did a few weeks ago. The fact of the matter is, we are seeing a lot of icons from our childhood past, and I just want to give a quick rest in peace to Miss Angela Lansbury. I know that some of my watchers have watched her. We all grew up with shows like Murder She Wrote. I got to watch her on Broadway once at Sweeney Todd. It was a is one of my favorite Broadway plays. So it really did touch me that she passed today, and with everything that's going on and what I'm going to be talked about, I just wanted to remind you all that nothing's promised. We have limited times on earth, and I noticed she got to live 96 years, but in the span of things, that feels like a blink for some. And I know that she did her best to make people smile in her 96 years. So it just drives me nuts that so many people waste the one shot we've got on this earth to just be awful. And today is no exception. I'm going to be talking about so much, and my friend Myron J. Clifton, a fellow writer at that, summed it up pretty nicely. It has barely been a full week into this month. We are only second day into this whole last week. Barely 2 weeks into October, and we have got so much going on. And welcome to the chat beans. You have Kanye West, who I am going to full on unpack the problems with Kanye yet again, because for some reason there's been a collective of white people who think that black people don't call Kanye out. We have been calling his brother out. I'm going to call him out yet again so that you have definitive call out for this motherfucker. Because apparently calling out his misogyny isn't enough, calling out his homophobia wasn't enough, calling out his pseudo-religion wasn't enough. He now adds anti-Semitism to the mix, and I'm going to call that out too, so that you know that black people don't support Kanye. Because as you can see, my black ass is black. And maybe you need to physically hear somebody black calling Kanye out yet again. You have the Nury Martinez scandal, which I'm going to get to because it's not surprising. Those of us who come from multi-ethnic families could tell you something about having people adjacent to your blackness still hate your blackness. And I'm going to try to unpack some of that as much as I can. Tulsi is like the least big story in this whole fucking list, but I'm going to unpack her nonsense too, because once again, Hillary Clinton was right. And the whole Tommy Tuberville thing, I have talked about him over and over again. I cannot believe that y'all replaced Doug Jones with this walking, talking Looney Tunes character. But his homage to slavery doesn't shock me. The fact that parents entrusted this man with their children is what bothers me. The fact that he was a coach, a mentor to people that he thought less of. That he's still sucking the mediocre, mushroom size, button mushroom size at that, dick of Donald Trump can't go unaddressed. And that is a problem with the GOP, that they keep trying to sidestep and dance around. But you are the fucking party of MAGA. And the fact that I even have to call out somebody like Tommy Tuberville, the fact that I got to even argue with people in my party allegedly because of messaging issues, I'm going to talk about it all today because I'm frustrated at this point. It's only 11 days into October, and there's just so much distracting fuckery, and it's on purpose. It is coordinated to not only erode our nerves, but distract us from the focus. Because some people still think they'll be all right if our democracy falls. Some people really think under a fascist regime, they won't be hurt. We can't afford to play those games. Because those of us who are constantly at the bottom, who are constantly stepped on, who are constantly sacrificed even, we can't risk Those who think that their privilege will shield them from the bad. And white women, you've been on my fucking nerves this week with this. This isn't to call out those of you who are doing good. And if you are doing the right thing and still feel called out by my words, that is a you problem at this point. I am not here to handhold and coddle every single freaking white woman who wants to get in their feels and defensive. It is not the time for y'all's stuff today. We have literally had to deal with a bunch of stuff on top of the election next month that everybody seems to want to distract from, because the easiest way to us, the easiest way to divide and conquer us, is through the open bigotry, the open racism, the open sexism that nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to navigate, because, oh, people's feelings get hurt, oh, people will be defensive. If we don't start addressing these issues, fully shining the spotlight on these issues, taking these issues down one by one, it's always going to be an exploit. And who gets the benefit of the exploit? The fucking GOP. Those overseas who want to hurt people that are different, who don't conform. Everything you claim to be for, if you're supposedly for democracy and progress, gets thrown out the window the moment you allow these easy exploits to divide and distract us. But nobody wants to fucking talk about that. And welcome to the chat, Fluffy. I am just so frustrated, and I'm glad. There are so many people that get it. They get when I talk about racism, sexism, when I bring up white women or white men, that if they're doing the right thing, there's absolutely no reason to be defensive. But then you have people like Mo. And I'm going to bring up Mo. Why? Because Mo decided in her need to defend Sarah Silverman, who I am going to bring it up, and of course she deleted it. But unfortunately for Mo, because I am OCD like this, I saved her tweet, because tweets are forever. And I'm like that now, because way too many famous people be thinking they could get away with certain things. Give me just a moment. And it's sad because I have my fake donation thing loaded up too. I'm going to get to that later on at the end of the cast, because so many of you turned out and really showed me that no matter how many people try me, my friends got my back, and I definitely appreciate that. But Mo Collins thinks she's slick. And it doesn't shock me. People will do the most stupidest shit on Twitter and think, oh no, I can just erase it and nobody will know. Nope. Sorry, Mo, but not sorry. As much as I liked you on Mad TV, I don't like the shit you're pulling. And you literally typed this to a black person. How do I know? Because it's one of my friends, somebody I've followed for years. How dare you? Sarah Silverman is a whole ass mess, and I'm about to unpack the problems I have with her in just a moment. But for you as an established comedian who has worked with black people, who you utilize that, when somebody asked you, did you have black friends? Your response wasn't, yes, I have black friends. It was, my friends come in every color. What are you talking about? I hate when white people do that, because it's a deflection. You either have black friends or you don't. When people ask me, do I have white friends? Yes, I have white friends. What of it? I don't say, oh, I got friends of every color spectrum. Because you're the same person. It's like, I don't see color. My friends, you could be purple. You could be polka dot. Last I checked, people don't come in those colors. But they do these straw man semantics to try to veer away from the fact that you are literally defending blackface and telling a black person that because of the time, which it was 2007, try to wrap your brains around that shit. 2007 was a different time for these people. Granted, Kiddo was only 2 years old. He's almost 18 now. He's not a full adult yet. But it wasn't that long ago, and I needed to remind her, and I made a little Bonnet short about it. There was never a fucking acceptable time for blackface. I don't care what you thought the intention or the message are. For somebody who has literally watched people take my ethnicity, take my skin color, and mock it, from Al Jolson all the way up to Sarah Silverman's bullshit, to have somebody who should know better thus jump into black people's faces and try to tell us that we're not allowed to be upset over the mockery? Nah, no, 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 no. And this was on top of Sarah Silverman showing her whole fucking ass for the last few days and showing us why we don't allow yous to call yourselves our allies. Because she done went after Holly Robinson Pete, one of the most unproblematic stars in Hollywood, for the simple clout chasing fact that her name is no longer fully relevant for her own work. And I'm saying that. I don't care if people want to ding me. I know I'm a nobody, but still, I'm not chasing relevancy the way Sarah is. She came out swinging on why aren't people calling out Kanye? And when we asked her what people, because I'm pretty damn sure Black Twitter is the reason why Kanye's account got flagged in the first place. But you wanted to make a big thing out of something that wasn't, what you tried to make it. You tried to make it seem like Black people were condoning Kanye West. Nobody claiming Kanye West. I left that motherfucker behind years ago when he was like, I don't read. And somebody who writes for a living, why the fuck would I stand somebody who doesn't like reading? But then he kept adding to not only misogyny, hatred of Black women, hatred of anybody that isn't Kanye West. And I was like, I'm going to leave this fucker alone. Then within this year, I had to call him out for his attacks on Pete Davidson. I'm worried about the violent antics that he thinks he can get away from. The fact that he's going and feuding back and forth with the Kardashians, I do worry that this fucker thinks that he could get away with literally murdering somebody. And now he has a full-on cult-like school, which he's charging people 15 grand to send their kids to be indoctrinated. Kanye West is a whole ass mess, and to add anti-Semitism on top of it doesn't shock me. But to act like Black people full on condone him because of fans, I could, if I wanted to, say the same thing about certain white people who are backing Sarah Silverman literally doing blackface. Sarah Silverman doing a sketch where she literally mocks Black men. Come the fuck on now. And don't forget that people literally have a laundry list, a CVS receipt list of receipts on Sarah Silverman's problematic behavior with anybody non-Black. She literally told an Asian man to his face that she should be allowed to use slurs in her stand-up. Sarah Silverman has been problematic. And it's not anti-Semitic to call out Sarah Silverman's behavior. But if you mix her heritage with it, yes, that's bad. And I would call out anybody who attacks Sarah Silverman's heritage. But we're not attacking your heritage, Sarah, and you know that. We're attacking the fact that you did this shit as a distraction. And why do I call it distraction? Because we are literally less than a month away from the midterms. The Democrats have a strong chance to take so many seats away from Republicans who have been wasting our time. And what do we get? We get fucking Bernie Sanders coming out of nowhere talking about, don't just campaign on abortion, because we all know where he stands with fucking women's issues. He doesn't give a fuck about us. He definitely doesn't give a fuck about our issues. And then you have little cronies like Sarah Silverman coming out of the fucking woodworks talking about why ain't more people besides Jewish people talking about Kanye, because we're tired of Kanye. We have been sick of Kanye. Kanye's antics, Kanye's ugly ass sneakers, Kanye's every fucking thing. For so many Black people, Kanye has been dead to us for years. But we can't say it loud enough for some of you. And then you got Rex, I'm a clout seeker Chapman jumping into the mix. And I wasn't expecting a 3 trifecta bingo card of weird white people with Mo Collins jumping in. But that is constantly a problem when we try to head-on tackle bigotry and racism. We've got people who legitimately have concerns. And I'm not even going to act like their concerns aren't fair, because if I tried to act like Black people didn't indulge in anti-Semitism, I would be a liar. Even Nick Cannon's ass got put on blast from me because he was saying very anti-Semitic things. And it is hard to navigate talking about anti-Semitism within our community because it doesn't come from a place where we don't have issue. I am an old school New Yorker. I remember Crown Heights. I remember a young boy being hit by a Hasidic child, who I'm calling him a child because he wasn't a full adult, and the riots that happened from it. I remember how fractured our communities became from that incident and how it's still years of trying to repair the damage. I know that there are Jewish people that would fight for us, that have stood with us for Black Lives Matter. But I also do know that there are Jewish people that are white adjacent enough to where they think they can skirt that line and tout anti-blackness where they think it's safe, while telling us, oh no, I'm Black Lives Matter, fingers crossed. It is troublesome trying to navigate these choppy ass waters between clout chasing goblins, those who really have viable concerns about both hate and who espouses it. But we are not going to get anywhere by not calling people out when their behaviors show that they are not on the up and up. Sarah Silverman is somebody who needs to have several fucking seats. She is nobody that should be calling out anybody when you, I'm sorry, you are dirty with the stuff you've done. To Black people, to POC, to your own fellow women. And you have the nerve to try to call somebody out on Kanye West. Nobody here claiming Kanye. And what frustrates me is just how loud, because she's already built her platform. She's already a well-known celebrity. That people take her word for gospel. And they want to downplay, ignore the fucking hurt that she has done to my community. And I can't do that. It is infuriating. And I refuse to allow people to play around with this because it's all been a distraction. And what are they trying to distract from? The fact that we have so many close races. It shouldn't be close. The Democrats are a fucking fickle bunch. It is infuriating the way so many of y'all are trying to play the call the manager game with Jamie Harrison. Now, I'm going to be 100% real. When Tom Perez was running in DNC, I had nothing but ire. I constantly spoke up about the way he was handling it because A, there were way too many Dems allowed up on that stage, especially during the presidential primaries. The fact that he can't letting Bernie call the fucking shots when he wasn't even a Democrat. There was a lot of stuff not being handled the proper way. So I can't, like other people say, well, you know, most people don't even know what the leader of the DNC does anyway. Because I did my part, especially after Donna Brazil, to try to learn exactly what was going on. Especially after Donna Brazil, you found out how much money the foundation was hemorrhaging. How Hillary Clinton had to literally bail the whole thing out and got kicked in their ass for it. So yes, learning about what the DNC does, what they were responsible for, was something that I started to educate myself on. And it's funny how many people who keep demanding stuff from Jamie Harrison don't understand. Even he had to say, I wish we were the cabal that people try to make us out to be. I wish we had the powers that some people think I'm capable of. Because if we were able to do some of the things that you accuse the DNC of doing, we wouldn't even have to beg you for votes. We wouldn't have to beg you for funding. And the fact that people are demanding a message from the Democrats when we are literally watching fascists at the door. They want a Social Security, they want women's rights, and they want PLC either silent or slaving or dead. I don't know what more clear message you need than that. They have targeted our trans kids and our gay kids. They have targeted anybody who dares to say Black Lives Matter. They are so anti-woke that we were talking about that earlier today. The fact that they have literally used the term woke, which is just our way of recognizing humanity, recognizing that we need equality and equity, they see it as a bad thing. They are literally preaching that teaching that Jesus loved everybody is a bad thing. Thanks to my friend Case for bringing that up, because that's the new way. They realize that love and compassion erodes their grip on power. So now they are fully pushing against even that. They want to teach a more militant God. They want to indoctrinate people against feeling anything but anger, fear, and sadness. Because they think that that somehow will get them into a paradise. It is messy, y'all. And it is far from the only distraction. I heard about Nury Martinez, that leak all of a sudden of a private council meeting. And it's not that I don't want that kind of information out, because I think it is relevant, but it's funny how all this shit is timed. I'm not going to act like the Mexican community and the black community don't kick it when we need to kick it. But I'm not going to act like our two communities also have had fractures. I have Spanish family. Family is very mixed because of intermarriage and everything else. But when I say having, especially black and Asian family members, that nuance of the ones that love us, but the ones that don't are very vocal, to have somebody's literal abuela look at us like, yeah, I know my family married into yours, but y'all are kind of dark. If you've never felt the pain of that, I envy you. Because it is a weird landscape to navigate. Having people that are literally related to you not want anything to do with you because your skin's too dark for them. And this fucking colorism has gone on in both Latin families and Asian families far too long, and people, they just don't want to talk about it. And we need to. One of the things that our communities could benefit from is frank discussion about how colorism has poisoned our communities, has made unnecessary divisions. How our communities could function so much better if we work together against the beast of white supremacy. But they don't want that, because that adjacency to power is so much more appealing. That adjacency to acceptance from the people who already supposedly hold power, that they refuse to fucking call out their own, and it has to be done. It is infuriating to me as a black woman that anytime one of mine steps out like fucking Kanye dumbass West, I'm expected on behalf of my people to call him out constantly. I'm expected to constantly have people's back. Yet as a black woman, I feel like I stand alone so much when the whole fucking world is throwing slings and arrows. And it's gotta stop. And I know that as a black woman, I'm not alone, but it sure as heck feels that way sometimes. It feels tiring when you see people in positions of power, people who can decide things like Miss Martinez, over zoning and things that you think don't matter until it's your kid affected. And as a city council member, to have that kind of feeling about a 2-year-old black child, that level of hate and poison, that's generational. That's ingrained. That's something that she was taught by her family. And it's something that we don't address enough. It's something that we don't take on because, oh, it makes us uncomfortable. Or, oh, we need to get defensive. It's why Mo fucking Collins was willing to risk her reputation on a fucking stupid ass tweet defending blackface instead of calling it out for what it is. We cannot have acceptable forms of bigotry anymore if we are going to get better, because the other side has already said, oh no, we're going to full on embrace it. It's the only thing that gives us power. It's the only thing that gives us feeling like we belong here, is to make other people that don't look, act, and pray like us feel less than. So we have to indulge it. At least an open-faced racist, to me, is more honest with their feelings than these people that claim to be democratic, claim to be liberal, but make fucking excuses for this. Sarah Silverman has never fully apologized. She couldn't even directly apologize to Holly Robinson P. until another white actor stepped in and told her this ain't it. And even then, she doubled down against everybody else. Because Sarah can't be wrong. And it's tiring trying to talk to people who don't want to be wrong. I get shit wrong all the time. And if I'm 100% honest, I don't like the feeling it gives me. But I would rather apologize when I fuck up than to act like I do no wrong. I've never put myself on a pillar and acted like I was a saint, because that is a great way to get yourself knocked off. But there are far too many people that want to act like they're perfect, or that their actions can just be excused away. I have done things for work, especially back when I did gaming journalism, that might not have been the best, but I have never done anything that I wasn't proud of, nothing that I can stand by. I refuse to be one of those people that have to deal with that. Is this you? So many of you can't say that and you're scared. And you know what? It's okay to change. But once you've done something where the damage is done, you are going to be forever tied to that. And no matter what Sarah tries to do with herself, I am going to remember the black face with her, I'm feeling my minstrels, because she thought that was funny. You know, comedy is relative and I get it. But if I'm not laughing, I can't call it a comedy. And she's far from the only comedian who I walked away from. I told people all the time. I used to love Dave Chappelle. I had the whole Ask Chappelle Show first season DVD that I used to watch whenever I just needed a pick-me-up. I can't even look at him now. Because for me, condoning his behavior against the trans community is unacceptable. And as I get older, I learned that I don't have to keep supporting somebody who's harmful and hateful, especially to a whole entire community that's already vulnerable. So I don't fuck with Dave Chappelle anymore. And it's like that for a lot of comedians. I'm not just going to cancel somebody because they're adjacent. Looking at you, Patton Oswalt. You've been trying it, though, with your, I got to defend my friends. Maybe sometimes mind your business. I get you wanting to be there and have somebody's back, but sometimes you need to stay the fuck out of stuff. People already like you. They think you're cute and lovable. Don't stick your nose where it don't fucking belong. But white people, y'all do this a lot. You just have to be the center of stuff. You have to dictate stuff. Getting back to Jamie Harrison, the most people, besides that Quancy guy, who were calling out Jamie Harrison this week were a bunch of supposed white Dems. And you know what? Unless you're phone banking, unless you're absolutely seeing no advertising, which I'm seeing tons of advertising here in Michigan, unless you can legitimately say you live in an area where there is no damn outreach, you have absolutely no right to be sitting on Twitter complaining to the DNC about needing a message to save democracy. It is beyond ridiculous, but it doesn't surprise me because the distractions are on purpose. And the closer we get to November 8th, for those of you who aren't early voting, for those of you unlike me who I got my absentee ballot signed, sealed, and delivered, in a few days I'll be able to check and make sure that it was registered. And then I will be able to keep going back to the SOE site to make sure that my vote is registered. Because that's what happens when you fill out your absentee ballot. And yesterday was the 10th. So if you did not register early, or if your state doesn't have an extended thing, you need to go in person to vote. This shit is important. And I can't believe that people are still acting like they need a stronger message. The GOP is just running anybody at this point. People full on still loyal to that MAGA bullshit. Assholes like Herschel Walker who do as I say but don't do as I do. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I cannot believe that anybody that calls themselves an actual Democrat, whether you're wanting to be Justice Dem, whether you're Bernie or Buster, whether you're one of the several different factors from the 2019 primaries, because we all still have our cliques and clubs. I'm not going to act like that's not a real thing. A lot of us have faves. Whether you're a 23andMe Ma type, Team Pete, Yang Gang, whatever. If you believed in somebody that ran on a Democratic ticket and you do not see the threat of the Republican Party, I'm calling BS on you. At this point, the message is clear. They went after Roe. If you're a woman right now, whether you're childbearing age or not, the fact that our rights have always been tenuous shouldn't elude you. If you're older than 50, you know when Roe was first codified. You know what's on the line. You remember those back alley abortions that might have taken somebody you know. You knew the underground Jane Project that we had to establish just to get people safe health care. We don't want to go back to those days or worse. And if you think that they're going to stop with our right to choose and not go completely after our right to vote, you've got another thing coming. And those of you on Social Security, need I remind you that there is only one party touting Social Security as an entitlement. Even though the fact is that that shit comes automatically out of your paycheck. You don't get a choice in whether that money comes out. And it is supposed to be a guarantee that when you are old or that when you're mentally or physically unable to work anymore, that you are covered. But the Republicans don't want to hear that. They just see money that they want to spend on themselves. They want money for their coffers. And if we put them in charge, we get what we deserve. And welcome to the chat, Terry Antico. It's just frustrating to me that anybody that considers themselves a Dem aren't doing everything after 4 years of 45 to make sure that we never go backwards again. To make sure that these fuckers never have power again. When they look at the stunts that Abbott pulled, when they look at what DeSantis has done to Florida, when they look at the fact that they literally put their agenda out there, they're not even hiding it. Most of the people running here for the Republicans on Michigan have sound bites where they go, well, we can't have any acceptable abortions, not even for rapes or incest cases. They don't care. And I don't know how much clearer it has to be, but if you claim to care about women's rights, if you claim to care about anybody outside yourself, you know that we have to vote against these fuckers. But of course, they know that their platform is divisive and harmful. So what can they do to keep us at each other's throats? Throw in a celebrity saying something dumb. Throw in any distraction, any shiny, to take our focus from the fucking midterms that we should be focused on. People want to complain about the DOJ again. Once again, Merrick Garland is not on Twitter to give you a play-by-play of his job. The whole reason why Donald has been sputtering and so many people have been flipping against him is because we literally have adults in the room doing their job by the book, which means you're not going to get a Twitter memo about it. So all you fuckers still trying to get hearts and likes and the interaction, engagement, dinging Merrick Garland, y'all's days are numbered. The man is doing his job, and I'll never get tired of saying that this is not a TV show. You're not going to see Donald Trump just perp walked all of a sudden. This is being done by the book. It is slow and methodical because that's how justice is. Too many of you don't understand because you never had to deal with the justice system as either a victim or somebody who had to actually deal with the justice system coming after them. It takes years to actually get any kind of case or conviction, sometimes even an indictment. So how fucking dare you act like the DOJ's not going fast enough? The DOJ, the current head of the DOJ, has barely been a full year in to his job. So it is very infuriating that some of you are expecting magical results in the blink of an eye. But it's not surprising because we are full on entitling and demanding types. And it's got to stop. And they're not, you're right, Terry. The fact of the matter is, women we've always been property to man. But we have become such a commodity now, especially. Assholes like Matt Walsh talking about 16-year-olds are the most fertile. All they care about is fuckability. And it's scary right now. Because women are making strides. We have been making strides. We are strong and smart human beings. And we should be treated as viable, smart human beings. But if we allow the weird religious theocracy to take over, our place will be nothing but popping out babies and nurturing kids until we're no longer here. And I am not saying that to knock those who that's their calling. Every human's different. There are some women out there that that's all they've ever wanted to do is be a mom and take care of kids. I don't knock those women because y'all deserve to exist too, but not on the backs of those of us who want more. Your beliefs shouldn't erode the woman that wants to go into science or business or entertainment or anything that she wants to do. I am fucking sick and tired of people acting like one size or one template fits all for women. We are everything that we want to be and beyond. And it is time for men to realize that and realize that their place shouldn't be rigid either. That's why so many of them are broken. So many of them are angry. So many of them tend to violence because they feel so out of control, because they can't fit into that neat little box the society tries to put them in. And it's time for us to stop trying to place them in those things. It is okay for your man to feel a certain way about even knitting. Things that, oh, that's not really manly. Who says who? We have to stop these weird forced gender roles. We have to stop pretending like what worked supposedly in the 50s can work today. This world is ever changing. The more connected we become, the more we can see this world on the digital level. There's absolutely no reason to keep these closed-minded, harmful ways about ourselves. As our society continues to grow together, we need to grow, both emotionally and mentally. But too many people are fighting against it because they're fearful. Where will I be if the society's equal? With everybody else. And I know that feels scary to you because you never had anything for yourself. You might have grew up in the church indoctrinated to believe, well, a woman's place is behind the man. I mean, doesn't make me always feel happy, and I feel kind of grumpy about it most days, but that's my place. That's my lot in life, so I'm doing it for paradise. Y'all gotta stop that. I'm sorry. Once again, I mean no disrespect to people's religion, because I believe faith is a guide. But if you're using that faith to be miserable while you're alive now, in the hopes that you get into some paradise, that's not a good trade. And to be real, I don't understand the pull of that anymore. To have somebody tell me that I have to be less than to get accepted in some eternal place with a bunch of other people that makes me miserable is not a selling point. And then you add on top of that as a woman, I've never felt less than. I was raised around all women. So it's weird when I went out into society that tried to use that sexism for me. Because where I grew up with my grandmother and my aunties, they handled stuff. So it is frustrating to me. He does love his crocheting. He is amazing with that. And it's just so frustrating to me to have people act like these forced roles in life and relationships have to keep going, when the world is already saying that doesn't work for us. We have generations of people who want to hold on to toxic stuff, and then a whole generation of people are like, this isn't my life. I don't hate people because they're different from me. I am understanding my own gender fluidity, my own sexual fluidity, and this is me. And we have to start respecting that is going to be the reality for human beings. There is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all. And just because you might have found supposed like-minded people that all grew up like you, doesn't mean you're right about things. Getting back to the whole anti-Semitism within my community, because I don't want to shy away from this conversation. It is a very important conversation to have. Not just because I have people near and dear to me that are Jewish, including a cousin who converted, but because it is a serious topic. It is not an easy topic either, because people are always trying to throw in different things. One of the things that I had to dodge, and I still dodge this because it is not an easy thing to talk about, is the Israeli issue. The fact that Israel and Palestine were close to a two-state deal, was close to something that could have led to peace, and that was completely nuked by 45. I had so many people coming at me from all sides asking me my opinion. And most people didn't like what I had to say, and I'm sorry. I stand by the fact that I think at this point, after years of conflict, that we need to stop trying to figure out who's right in this. Stop trying to figure out who wins in this, and find some form of fucking peace. Every side in this conflict has done something that you wouldn't be proud of at this point. But to act like, oh, there has to be somebody that's right in this. This conflict went on from before my grandmother was even born. It's gone on too long. People are still dying from this. It needs to stop. But that bleeds into talks over here. And you have these weird Zionists, as they call themselves, which spits in the face of so many other cultures. Because the word Zionist isn't normally leaning towards hate. But you have these weird black Zionists that I seen in New York growing up that have very anti-Jewish leans. And then you have the Nation of Islam, who are a whole ass problematic group. You want to believe that these brothers in bow ties and suits have their shit together until you listen to them as a black woman and you're like, no, I think I'm going to go over here now because you're a bit too hateful for me. And as a black woman who likes my ability to learn and have my own voice and brain, I'm not taking shit from nobody. I don't care how well dressed you are. The moment you start espousing open hate like that, I can't fuck with you. And the problem within our community is trying to call these brothers out is always met with the pick-me girls that want their attention and try to downplay their antics. And then the brother men who are full-on indoctrinated, who are very loud, very violent, and a threat to those of us who call their hatred out. So I understand why navigating that is hard for some of us, but I have always been raised to speak my mind. That's why I don't fuck with the Dusties. That's why I don't fuck with their hot tops either. It's time for our communities to stand against hatred. We can't just decry anti-blackness and then condone other forms of bigotry. It's unacceptable. And I get for some that they think that the other forms of bigotry is just as bad. For you who are directly impacted, yes, it is. I don't take the way being targeted for your cultural, physical, or any beliefs make you feel, because I've existed for over 45 years as a black woman. I know what it feels like. I remember the first time I had the N-word said to me. I remember every jab at my looks, at my features, at my nose, my lips, my size, everything. I carried that for so many years. I thought it was going to break me until I realized that that is a them problem. I'm not going out of my way to attack somebody for their culture. I'm not going out of my way to attack somebody's identity. I need to stop allowing those who do to have that space in my head. And that is where I started, and that is where I continue on my path to make this place better. But it's not easy. And I can't do that ignoring people in my community who are loud and wrong. But if you expect me to call out every fucking black bigot that I see and ignore the white bigotry, no, I can't do that. Everybody's held accountable. Everybody's dirty is listed, and we all shine a light on the act. I didn't have to call out Sarah Silverman with personal attacks. She has done enough awful shit that I can personally call out without ever attacking her on a personal level, because I don't want to attack her on a personal level. I don't have to agree with anything she does. But I've never been paid that same respect. And that needs to be for real. And like I said, our communities could get so much done together. We could build so many strong coalitions. We could make it where assholes like Tommy Tuberville, who literally was praising the days of slavery, never has a seat in our halls of Congress again. But instead we play these distraction games because, once again, the hatred is an easy exploit. That's why Putin was able to manipulate so many people with his shenanigans and get his puppet in for 4 years. And if you don't think the damage of 45 is still going to be felt, no matter who we have in office after him, you're a fool, and I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you. The damage was done in 2016. But we can undo some of the fallout damage. We can undo some of the radiation if we care. But some of you are proving that you don't care as you make demands. Where is Black Twitter, some supposedly Jewish lady said. And when Black Twitter came for her, oh, you're coming at me too hard. I was just asking. But you don't even follow black people. So why are you asking about black Twitter? Why is black Twitter's name in your freaking mouth? If you're not even following black people yet, you want to police how black people handle a situation, you're problematic. I can get my own. I've taken it from my own. They don't faze me. I'll call out a person in a heartbeat if they're doing wrong. Some of yous can't say the same, and then some of yous will full on defend. Now that my book is published, I've noticed a lot of new followers. I appreciate y'all. But I'm not going to just follow back anybody. And I had 2 writers follow me the other night. One, I absolutely liked some of the things he said, and I checked people's timeline. The other spent the whole day not only defending Sarah Silverman vehemently like they were best buddies, but then went and said all of these black, I don't know if he said black, I might be paraphrasing, so I don't want to put that on him, but he pretty much said that he was being attacked, being the victim, and that he's still going to sleep at night. Okay, why are you following me then, pal? That's what I want to know, because I know that I keep it real, I keep it interesting, I know that my book is popping off and stuff, slowly but surely, but I don't need clout seekers chasing after me. If that is why you're following me, hit the unfollow button. Don't waste our time. Because for everybody that likes one thing I say, there's always going to be something that I'm real honest and brutal about that you're not going to like. And I don't need you trying to call the manager on me, Kevin. And that's not his name before y'all go try to seek him out. But I know that as the story gets shared, as more people get their copies, as more people talk about it, there are going to be the clout seekers that chase after me. And I'm going to be real about this. Because I want the story shared, sometimes I will interact with certain people. But if I don't fuck with you now, if I have never liked some of the things you do, no, I'd rather not fake the funk. I'm not going to pretend like I like somebody. I'm not going to chase somebody because they're supposedly famous. That has never been who I am. That is not who I'm going to be. I know I can stand on my work by itself too, so I'm not going to do any of that shit. I don't need it. But round things off, it does come with its risk. I put up a crowdfunding, first on Kickstarter. It didn't go through. A lot of people, almost 4K in donations. So I know people wanted to support us. Y'all are amazing, and I can't express how much y'all's turnout meant to me. When that fell through, we came up with the PayPal thing. One of the things that PayPal is going through right now is not only fraud, but some weird thing where somebody put out a memo saying that if they think your stuff is misleading, they can fine you $25K. It's been a mess. So needless to say, I was already on edge with PayPal. And then last night, I got this. Not that. Where is that image? No, that's a thank you. Let me pull it up. I had all my stuff all listed, and then dealing with the Mo Collins stuff. So bear with me. I want to have receipts because I know people claim stuff online, and that's one of the things about clout-seeking culture too. It is hard to navigate who's telling the truth and everything else, and I don't want anybody thinking that I don't come with receipts. And I know I don't have to do this, and I needed to be careful with what I showed so that I don't out somebody or dox somebody. So let me get these pictures right before I show it. But I like to have proof. Here's the first thing with the fake donation. As you can see, excitedly, let me make it a little bit bigger. Because I was so excited about this. Imagine you're writing all day, and in the middle of the night, you get a ping, and you got money. You received $1,000. Now, granted, our fund had already got close to 3K again. So I was like, oh my God, somebody might have read the book or got themselves a digital copy and really wanted to support the project. I got so excited. And then PayPal hit me with the, we take it back. Your thing got refunded and we're charging you $44. And this guy, who supposedly is in Colombia, I don't know who you are, sir. I don't understand why you would do something like this. But I have the email address you use for the situation. I have your name allegedly and everything else. I don't understand why you did what you did, but it was a lesson for me. And I don't think I will be crowdfunding again after this one runs out. So I appreciate everybody. And people stepped up. Another friend was like, nah, Tim, we're not going to let you deal with this. And he covered what that guy fake sent. And I did not just put that out there for people to send me stuff. And I know that there are people that do shit like that. And I'm always wary of that. You know, we are navigating such treacherous things. And then you've got so many elections coming up that I know that people have better things to donate to. So I am very appreciative of people who want to help this project out. So I never wanted anybody to feel obligated. I was just so hurt and confused why anybody would do something like that. And if you're watching, Mr. Guy from Colombia, your little scam and prank didn't work. And I am making sure that PayPal makes sure that you can't do that to me anymore. Because this is ridiculous. So many of us, we don't have anything else going for us. This is our livelihoods. I didn't take in such a big risk, not only putting my work out there, but hopefully trying to make something of it so I could take care of my family. So to have some rando guy do something like that for the lulz, it's not okay. And you're not going to stop the momentum. People are getting copies of the book. People are letting me know they like the story, what they have actual full-on feedback. And I am just so amazingly blessed that stuff like this might rattle me, and I'm definitely not going to crowdfund anymore. I've made that decision. I talked it out with my partner. It's too much stress. My brain should be on writing. And while I would love to be able to do it all, I can't. And I'm going to focus on the thing that I can do, which is write stories, create characters, and get my work out there. I know that one day I will be able to just put out a tweet and say, hey, I've got a new project coming up, and people will help me out, but I'm not there yet. This has taught me so much. But one of the things it really taught me is I am not cut out to ask people for this kind of help. It is humbling. It is frustrating, and it opens you up to so much anxiety that it's just not worth it to me. So once again, I want to thank everybody who did help. And this book is still going on strong. I am working on its follow-up because there's so much I want to do with these characters still. But what I am not going to do is continue to subject myself to the anxiety of dealing with crowdfunding stuff, whether it's PayPal, Kickstarter, anything else. Lesson learned. Hopefully next time I have to deal with anything, I'll be dealing with it with a team. Because I have so many people now, not only volunteering to help out with things like editing, test reading. They are so excited because of how much the first story touched them that they are looking forward to the second story. And I am so beyond blessed to have friends like this. And I am blessed for the friends that had my back even before this book popped off. I had people like Tony, who works for Blaze Network, who has an amazing podcast herself, who was one of my first full test readers before anybody else. Got through beginning, middle, end, gave me amazing feedback. I have Grandma Ray, who not only took the ebook and gave me pinpointers. People like my friend Angela, who I wanted to run by because of my LGBTQ couples. Even people I don't talk to anymore. I know some of you remember that I was friends with Lisa. I don't talk to Lisa much anymore. We had a falling out over Felissa Rashad and her very weird leans against Bill Cosby. As a rape survivor, I am not down for Bill Cosby. And it felt like she and I were going to have a falling out because of how vocal she was and acting like black women only supported Bill Cosby. And then when she went after Phylicia Rashad, it was time for me to end whatever alliance and friendship we had. But even she got a snippet because I wanted to make sure I was portraying an LGBTQ couple in a very respectable way. I take my friends' identities seriously. I watch writers make mockery of their existence, and I did not want to be accused of that. So anybody who would give my work a look-see, I went to them. So I thank everybody who gave feedback, who read transcripts, who gave me proper feedback on how to convey it. I take stuff like this seriously because I know what it feels like to have my identity mocked, to have people dress in blackface, eat watermelon, and say that people like me are only good for... Ugh. I take what I do seriously. So when I say that when people play pranks like that, it hurts me to the core, that's all I'm getting with this. So if that's you and that's how you get your jollies, move it along. Pick on somebody else. I am not here for that nonsense. All I want to do is create fun content, create characters that people can read and identify from, and have fun doing it. And if that bothers you so much, that's on you. I don't go seeking people out to make miserable. My work isn't there to make you feel less than. It's there to make people who are normally not seen in literature feel seen. And that's all I've ever wanted to do with my writing and with these shows, is to help people have a voice to feel voiceless. And I think I'm doing a daggone good job. But it doesn't stop the more your presence is known on here from people trying to get at you. And I'm letting you know right now, I see those of you who use Twitter to fight. I can't stop you. That's not going to be my life. That I can't do it. Twitter is a social app. I like talking to people. I like laughing. I like sharing. I like mourning when somebody like Angela Lansbury passed, because so many of us grew up with her stuff. I like the communities that we have built. But I cannot stand that some of you have turned it into everything's got to be a battle. Constant battleground. Who are we fighting today? Who are we mad at? No, I don't want that for me. I don't want that for my friends. If that's how you get your dopamine hit, fine. But you're on your own. My Twitter has to keep its focus. My focus right now is on the midterms. After that, I hope to be able to talk about more engaging, entertaining stuff. I thought about going back to the once a week, but I like the 2 times a week format. I think I'm going to keep these Bonnet Chronicles, as long as Kiddo isn't at the desk, on Tuesdays and Fridays, because I feel like even after the midterms, there are going to be things to talk about. Hopefully it won't be oh my God, we've got to leave the country because you've let too many of these Republican fuckers in charge, and they're going to go after things like our electoral college and stuff. I am hopeful that any panic that I'm feeling right before the midterms is just my normal cautionary worry, and that yous turn out in ways that show me that I was wrong. But since we are still a little less than a month away, I have every right to feel my nerves being frayed, because there are still too many people defending blackface in 2022. So I can't trust that you've got your heads in the right place when it comes to saving our democracy. Y'all are going to have to prove me on that. We have way too many distractions, y'all. It's taking our focus away from the things that we need to be focused on. Too many of us have state elections that are very important. Who's leading your state? Who's leading the halls of Congress is important. And for far too long, we have had too many of you be numb to that fact. Numb to the fact that your state rep can literally veto something that, even if it's passed nationally, will not affect your state if your state reps don't go for it. You need to understand that basic civics call for you to know who your voice in Congress is. Know who's on your school board. Because Nury Martinez was elected. A person who literally called a 2-year-old black child a monkey. And yeah, she might have stepped down from that one position, but she is still in a position of power. And that shit has to stop. And we have to start holding people accountable, not only for their words, but their actions against our communities. We need to stop putting people with acceptable forms of bigotry in charge of us. It is the only way we will have better. And we got to stop worrying about the what if the other side, because they're armed. The other side are always going to be bad. But we have got to stop giving them more power than they have and they deserve, because they're stupid too. And if we're the supposed smart ones, we can get around everything they're doing. We can make it harder for them to have arsenals. But we have to put people in that care, and that is what next month is for. We have amazing people running it every single state. And I am sick and tired of hearing shit about messages or what's winnable and what's not winnable. We decide whether we are apathetic or not. The fallout of not doing something is too great for us to risk. So you can be mad at Sarah Silverman. You can be mad at Kanye. You can be distracted just a little bit. But make sure that when the 8th comes, your voice is checked for whatever side you're on. Because that is what's important. And that is what this whole week, and it's only 2 days in, has been distracting us from. We have to get it together, y'all. And I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Get ready to go make some dinner. Ladies, thank you so much for sitting in. Beans, Terry Antico, Fluffy. I appreciate you so much for telling you. Just having my back is supported. And I am so excited about that. Being able to do your ballot at home is so freeing. I had so much COVID fears. And my place is not that far from the house. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not even a 10-minute drive away from the house. So it wasn't that it was far. It's just that COVID is still a thing. Some people don't want to mask up. We still have the Let's Go Brandon types around here. So I had a lot of anxiety. But being able to do my absentee ballot from home, being able to utilize things like Ballotpedia, look up things, make sure that what I was signing off on was something that I agree with, was so freeing. And I implore you that if you have the ability to get on your state's absentee ballot, do it. Because you never want to be, even if you don't use it, even if you decide, I want to go in, you still have that backup just in case. And don't do anything stupid like trying to do both. I know that rarely happens on our side, but just in case, so that people can't say that I didn't say it, don't try to do both. Let's keep things fair. Let's not play like the other side. And let's win these elections, because I don't believe that there's a no-winnable election for Dems this year. I believe the Republicans played a dirty hand, and we need to show them in droves what they are going to reap for what they sowed. But like I said, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Thank you all so much for sitting in. Please do your part and vote. And I will see you ladies on Friday. I appreciate y'all. Books are being mailed out this week. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, I know Terry Antico and Beans, I'm supposed to be sending your copies out. So if you haven't gotten them yet, you will be getting them soon. They are signed by both Greg and I, so I hope you don't mind. I'm very excited about this. But I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for sitting in.